Your next opportunity will come from who you know, not what you know. I'm Jamie Gorman, the host of Be Better at Business TV, and I'm here this morning with Amelia Stansel, Vice President and Financial Center Leader for BB&T Bank. And we'll be discussing how you should build your network and why you need to do the value and how to do it. Good morning, Amelia.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, Amelia, I have a lot of clients and friends that will say to me, I'll invite them to networking events. They'll say, I'm not a very good networker. I don't need a network. And I think their picture is going into this big room with a lot of people they don't know and trying to come away with 50 business cards. What is business networking, and really why do we need one? Why does it provide value for our business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked that a lot when I do these presentations and go into networking events. Often networking is really just person-to-person contact marketing.
Okay.
It's about building relationships. So really going into one of those big meeting rooms is not about getting 50 different relationships and 50 different cards. Usually say look for 5 or 6 people that you can build a relationship with that you actually want to follow up with later.
Okay.
And actually follow up.
Okay, great. So that kind of defines it, that it's not just about meeting a bunch of people. It's kind of building relationships with one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And how have you seen this help business in your career? I mean, how has that networking really helped you build your career in business?
That's a great question, too. Really, I've built my career a couple of times in different cities across the country as I've moved around through networking, whether it's through when I was doing financial planning and actually getting out, and I did a lot of time of cold calling, which is not really my favorite way to build a network, but that's how I had to start out. But then once I got into it and got pulled into a chamber of commerce out in Boise, it's when I really figured out networking and realized the power of being able to network and build those one-on-one relationships. And then as you do it more and more and you get to know more and more people, they start referring business.
Right.
And then you're able to refer business to them, and it works out great, and you become really good friends.
Right. That's a good point, because I use that in one of my workshops, that a lot of times when you meet someone, it's less likely you'll do business with them, but they know 100, 200 other people, and it's very likely that you could do business with one of those people. So that's an important part of the networking, a lot of the value.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to remind you, Be Better at Business TV is a live show. If you're online watching us now, you can chat in your questions, and we'll try and answer those live on the air. The other question I get, and I'm a little bit of an introvert. Can an introvert be good at networking, or should they just give up? Is it something that they can learn how to do, or is it just all is lost if you're an introvert?
Actually, you are a perfect example of that. As a matter of fact, when I met you, 4 or 5 years ago?
It's been about 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, I met you through a networking event. You had actually gone to a chamber event, and then we got to know each other a little bit. We went to another chamber event, got to know each other a little bit better, and that, I mean, that's a great way to be able to do it. If you're an introvert, pick smaller things that you can go to that maybe don't have 150 people, but maybe have 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 that you can get to know a few people, and those people introduce you to more people, and then you can do it rather than getting into a big room sitting as a wallflower and being scared. But yeah, absolutely, you see a lot of people that are introverts that do really well in networking.
Yeah, and I actually like the training, things, because it has an agenda and a program, so I don't feel like I've got to carry things. So, and it's usually a smaller group, and there's something to discuss, and so you don't have to be thinking, what am I going to talk about, or what should they be talking about? And so I do like the smaller things, and especially the training like that. That's great. So, Alyssa, do we have any questions?
Do you think that people are replacing business networking with social media?
Boy, I'll get into meetings and rooms, and I'll be talking about social media, and people be like, I don't want to go there. What's happening? All we're going to be doing is talking to each other on computers. We won't talk to each other face to face. Where do you think social media plays in this whole networking business?
It's interesting with social media coming up. I've been doing networking for a long time. Pre-LinkedIn, pre-Facebook, all of these things, and it's been interesting watching as things change, especially as they're changing rapidly, as much as people are really relying on their apps on their iPhone for LinkedIn and using card munch and things like that when they go to a meeting and pulling people into their networks. But I don't think it really replaces the true face-to-face networking. I think it helps supplement it.
All right.
So having a good LinkedIn profile and having it current is really important, because if people are out there looking, you want to make sure it's current.
Okay. Yeah, and I tell folks, especially with the social media, is that it is that supplemental. And I even recommend to people, if you go into a networking group, if they're not able to share your stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn and those types of things, you should rethink it, because that kind of lowers the leverage of a group if they don't have those tools available or they're not using them to really leverage the network.
Yeah. Even today's event, doing this, I was able to use both my LinkedIn and my Facebook, as well as just sending an old-fashioned email out to a lot of my friends and colleagues.
An old-fashioned email.
Who would think that email is old-fashioned and
right.
so old? But it's getting that way. But we'll send it out to let people know that we're doing this. So hopefully we have a lot of people out there who are friends that saw it online.
All right. Great. Well, thanks for that.
Okay.
We've kind of shown this morning that you really do know what you're talking about when it comes to networking, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about Amelia? What's going on?
There's always a lot going on for Amelia. Nobody wants to hear about what I do for my day job, but I will tell you about some of my fun stuff I get to do.
Okay.
Besides being a mom, that seems to take up a lot of my extra time. But there's a lot of great things going on right now with the Greater Warrenton Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
We've got coming up in a couple of months for the Father's Day car show, which Father's Day is right around the corner at this point.
Yeah.
So there's a Father's Day car show up in Old Town Warrenton on Father's Day. There's also a car raffle going on that if you want to buy tickets, let me know. Or anybody else on the Chamber Board know we're selling tickets as our major fundraiser right now.
Okay. And they announce the car giveaways. Do they do that at the car show?
They
No,
do. Great question. They announce it at the car show, so it'll be drawn then.
Great. So sometime mid-June you could win a car. That's pretty good news.
Right there from one of our dealerships in Warrenton.
There you go.
Supporting another local business.
Wonderful. Well, I'm Jamie Gorman, host of Be Better Business TV and the CEO of Sigma Business Management. Everyone has an area of business where they need to get better. When you figure out what that area is for you, please give us a call. We'll help you find out and define what it is, find the solution, and then put some resources, the best resources towards that. If you found this helpful, please don't be afraid to share that and let other people know about Be Better Business TV. We could always use more of an audience, and we just love helping people out. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.